Okay, so now we should be live and we should be good. Yeah, all right. I had kind of messed up the initial stream here, so now it should be fixed. All right, yeah, looks good. I'm gonna start some Outer Worlds 2 here so that we have a little something going on while I am talking. So I've just barely started, like creating my character, and there's a little like spaceship stuff like going on, and I just get down to land here, and then that's it. So that's pretty much where I'm at. So I haven't done much already. So you're not missing much on the initial experience here of Outer Worlds 2. I adjusted my graphic settings a bit, so hopefully it's not too bad. At least I'm hoping it runs smoothly for the rest of the stream. All right, so yeah, pretty big week in terms of happenings here for Xbox. Lots of people happy, unhappy online. It's always the same with Microsoft. They always get people to talk about them. So wait, I'm not even hearing myself here. Did I? Yes, that's why. I didn't turn on my headset. That's gonna be a bit helpful here. All right. But yeah, we're gonna start right and get right into it with the initial thing I want to talk about, which is the 30% profits margins. So this is the thing, the one that came back the most this week, unfortunately, from Bloomberg. We heard that Microsoft is targeting 30% profits across all of its divisions, and that includes obviously Xbox. This is something we had heard previously on the XB2 podcast from Mr. Jez Corden of Windows Central, and this is, I think, something that wasn't like too secret. You know, a lot of people knew about it. Like this, it just was a matter of getting more confirmation of it, and this is what we have this week with Jason Schreier from Bloomberg reporting on it, which means they have probably very reliable sources to be able to publish that. This is coming obviously from higher up, so probably from Mr. Satya Nadella, as well as Amy Hood, the chief financial officer at Microsoft. So this is quite unfortunate because even in their best years, like if we look at Sony and Nintendo, for example, they can reach sometimes in the 20s or high 20s, but those are like outliers, right? These are not the normal years that most companies have. So to expect like a company to be able to reach those numbers on a yearly basis is quite unreasonable. Maybe not impossible, but it would be very hard, especially in the current business, the current climate, unless they start charging for a lot more for their assistants, for their accessories, like they've already started doing, right? They've been raising the price of Xbox and Game Pass, so we know that this is something they're working on. We're hearing that apparently they are pretty much on target for this year, as Satya Nadella is getting a bonus which was related to Xbox on his salaries, which means that they are pretty close to that 30%. Maybe this year is not 30, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's what we're hearing, that they're pretty close to it at least, or that they reached their goal for 2024. So it's looking good. However, they've had to do quite a lot to reach it, including firing people, obviously, so lots of layoffs. They had to, like I said, raise prices across the board here. There's pretty a bunch of other cuts we're not even aware of. So yeah, this is quite unfortunate that they've had to go there. Although, I mean, we're hearing more and more that it's getting harder for those companies to reach higher profits, right? Everything is heading towards free-to-play. It's making it very hard for companies like Microsoft and Sony to be competitive against those big games, and to sorry, to be able to turn in a lot of profit, because people are buying less and less games and just playing for free. So you're subsidizing a system, people play for free, you're not making any more money. So, and this is not a charity, obviously, so it's understandable that they want to make more profit, that they want to charge more. So at some point they have to figure out, either they figure out ways to monetize users differently, or they start charging you more in order to make up for it, which is, it seems, what's kind of happening right now. So we are hearing that where the console is right now is the right price. They're probably gonna bring it up again, unless obviously tariffs hurt them some more. Although this is something that I've been
I'd wager we could use
having in
a
mind,
call
right?
help, Commander.
And
You're somewhere who can
the
show
thing
us
that
around.
I'm kind of thinking is like, we know that the tariffs are affecting all of them right now, all of the big players, because they're selling a console. If you look at the market, cell phones, for example, or normal computers are not affected by the tariffs. There's computer devices are not affected by tariffs in the US, but video game consoles are. So what if the next Xbox is sold more as a computer instead of a console? Would they be able to circumvent paying the tariffs? This is something I'm kind of thinking about. I don't know if it makes any sense, but yeah, this is something that maybe is possible in the future. Maybe this is their like ace in the hole, you know, for Microsoft to be able to charge less next gen and still offer something quite expensive. We know that they're, according to rumors, Xbox Magnus is supposed to be the code name. Or at least, from what we're hearing, it might not be the code name for the console, but the code name for the processor, the APU they're gonna be using. It's supposed to be maybe 30 to 35% more, maybe not expensive, more powerful than PS6. So that bodes well for them, having the greatest like console out, or console slash PC hybrid. But it would also probably be the most expensive of the bunch, and that means that they might not sell as many, although they might be able to depend on OEMs to make up for it. We know that they're heading, and this is my next point, towards a Xbox emulator, right? So if that emulator does come to fruition, that means it's gonna be happening on current devices, which means some people that already own let me see here, I shouldn't ask you for it, but what is it like? Okay. Yeah, if the current devices are supported, it means that people that already have PCs that would technically have Xboxes already, which could be good for them expanding their market share, because a lot of games from the previous generations are not available on current PCs, right? You can think about the first like Red Dead, for example, which wasn't available. Some of the like Halo 5, for example, is a game that's not available on the PCs right now. And like you can go for older stuff like Brute Force, for example, on the original Xbox. There's like, for me, for Ridge Racer 6, I play a lot on Xbox 360, is not available. So that could be something that like a lot of people would be interested in, and as they make the Xbox full screen experience available to more and more computer devices, this is also going to help a lot push their store to the forefront and have more people adopt it. So I'm thinking like by doing these things, they might already be getting more users in their ecosystem without even having to sell a device, which means that they expand and bring up those profit margins without even having to invest anything, pretty much, which is kind of a smart move. And they're getting more and more gamers that way. And we know that in places like Asia, for example, like China, where the market is like over 90% on PC, this is a move that could be helpful getting those extra users. So I think it bodes well for them. I think their strategy is sound. It's just a matter of will it work or not. Will gamers adopt it, or where there's just like, you know, just move to another competitor's like system. And there's let's stick to security ops. Well, let's try to be sneaky here. All right. But yeah, because if you're like on Xbox, there isn't that much choice for where you could go. You can either go PC or you can go PS5. Switch is in another realm completely. It doesn't support all the same games. So I mean, it's only Sony's gain and Microsoft's to lose, I guess, in the end. So hopefully people are more receptive. We know the Rogue Ally, Xbox Ally, and Rogue Xbox Ally X have been selling quite well, being sold out in a lot of places. I mean, it's a high-end device, it's an expensive device, so they probably didn't expect to sell millions anyway right off the gate. So it's all a matter of like how many they actually produced. So if they only produced 10,000, for example, and they sell out, it's not that impressive. But we don't have numbers, unfortunately. But the fact that it's selling out and that it's reviewing really well, in general, it bodes well, right? And if they can bring up that goodwill, like release the emulator in a few months, for example, or like next year, and more people they get their hands on it, and stores, for example, like at Best Buy and stuff like that, it could actually push them to the forefront and have more people talk about it. And I mean, considering it's a device that it's like cell phones, right? People buy cell phones because it's the center of their life basically, and the reality is that cell phones are a lot more expensive than consoles, but people are willing to pay for them because of the use they get out of it. So if Xbox would sell a PC, right? First of all, the PC does a lot of more things than just. Can I go through this? Yeah. Then a console can. So that's something to think about, because people are like, okay, I need to spend, let's say, $1,500 on the PC. I need to spend like, I don't know now, like next gen it could be like $700-800 for a console. But now I can buy, let's say, $1,000 or $1,200 PC console that does both. It's a hybrid, right? So then you're saving money, you're saving a good gaming experience, and you have support for your library of games if you already had one with Xbox. If you don't, obviously you're starting from scratch, but if you do, I mean, it's nice. And you don't even start from scratch, because maybe you already have like 300-400 games that you've gotten for free on the Epic Game Store, or you already have a huge Steam collection that you had over the years, you know. And so you're not starting from zero. So this is quite enticing to a lot of people. Get the value that they would get out of this. So I mean, I know myself, that's where I'm heading. If they do bring that out, I might get one. If instead that they add support for all other processors through emulation, I might just stick to what I have, or just build a new PC and get something a lot more powerful, because I'm a gamer, so I like to have more powerful stuff. But if the stuff they release is already powerful enough, and it also plays all my old Xbox games, I mean, I might get that as well if it makes me save some money as well. Can I? What is key? Oh, that's kind of like a skill here. I'm just trying to wonder, do I have a button to do like a? Okay, yeah, here, good. I'm gonna punch that rat. Oh, someone's coming, I think. But yeah, so yeah, I think that it's a sound strategy. I think they have a good plan here. It's just a matter of execution. Do I have to kill this guy? I guess. Okay. Just a matter of executing it well. Marketing has to be good. Like I saw the latest commercials that they have, like kind of like making fun of like people waiting outside and line up to get a new game at lunch, for example, and freezing their asses off. And then there's like this guy in his living room just waiting and getting his game, you know, in-house, like on Game Pass, you know. So this is actually a pretty good way of messaging your stuff. And there's also the commercial where you know, this is an Xbox One, but it's a lot more. Makes a lot more sense, like with younger people and stuff, and playing on different devices and stuff. And I think like trying to convey like how people would actually use those devices, instead of just being like, hey, here's a TV and this is an Xbox, and when the people are like, what, you know. Now it's like more showing it like in the normal like scenario, and this is probably going to be very helpful to make people understand it and sell that concept to a newer generation. So I think they're headed, like I said, in the right direction, and the team there is not stupid. Sarabon and Phil Spencer and Matt Booty, I think they're doing a good job. Sorry. It's just a matter of hopefully they've reached a point where they don't need to fire more people, and you know, I think they've done not necessarily damage, and I understand what they're doing. Like, I mean, at this point, it's like, what can they do? Either they're like fired and someone else got to take their spot and do the thing, you know, because they probably didn't want to be like yes men and women and just do whatever they wanted. But at the same time, at some point, it's like, yeah, either you keep your job, you know, or you give your job to someone else who's gonna do the same thing, you know. So what do you decide to do at that point, you know? So I'm pretty sure they were not happy with all those firings, because they bought a lot of like those studios, you know, and I'm pretty sure they were happy with what they had, and they were hoping it would deliver more. For a company, unfortunately, came to them the different ideas, you know, and they're like, well, pushing here, then this is what you're gonna do. So, oops. Can I? Oh. I was like, is there a way I could have killed him without... Maybe I had to get up, and I'm not sure. You know, so they did what they had to do, and I'm pretty sure they're hoping that this is enough damage and that we can move on now and just, you know, stop firing people and stop, like, start delivering on games, basically. This is where they should... This is where they need to be at right now. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea to go there, huh? Let's go this way. So yeah, I can't wait to see the execution and when that next generation console is gonna arrive. Actually, we can actually move on to that point right now because it kind of like leads into this very well. So next gen console. So when are we getting it? What are we getting? So Sarabond actually talked about this on an interview on Mashable, where she said, and I quote, that the next Xbox is going to be a very premium experience, very high-end, curated experience. So, wait, attacking the enemies while crouch, most weapons, tells you, one-handed weapons. Okay, yeah, we'll try this again. Wait, what? Is this like an elevator or something? What's the point of this? I don't understand. Do I have a knife, actually? Oh, yeah. Cool, now I can do the... Haha, okay. So yeah, so high-end curated. So people immediately went with, well, it's gonna be expensive, which I guess makes sense, right? High-end, premium, expensive, like curated is... It sounds expensive. We do know that OEMs are going to be partnered, and I think there were rumors that Magnus has been designed in a way that it can be... wait, what? He's like level 42 or something? But Magnus, it can be like... Maybe I should save here. Scaled up or down, depending on how they want to do, what they want to do. So is it possible that like the APU could be used to produce a much more like a cheaper device, for example, or a more expensive device, like who knows, but I'm guessing that's kind of like the idea here. So if that's the case, maybe you could get like a $500 device, a $1,000 device, a $1,200 device, like and so on, you know. So my hope is that maybe Microsoft produces the premium experience, which, I mean, fine if that's what they want to be taken care of. Oh, okay, it does kill them. But that OEMs at least will take charge and like produce maybe the cheaper experiences, so that in the end there's something for everyone. Because I feel like we're now at like what, like 35-40 million Xbox Game Pass subscriptions. So I mean, if you start releasing like $1,000 devices, all those people that are still on Xbox One, for example, or Series S won't move to a $1,000 device. It just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, while I understand there is cloud, and they might be saying, well, you know what, those people that are on the cheaper devices, just let them move to cloud. At the same time, not everyone wants to have the cloud experience. Some people want to be on the more like native console experience, and if you don't give them access on the cheap or on a device where they can actually afford, what's gonna happen is that those people are gonna go elsewhere. Basically, that's what it is. Like, there are tons of alternatives to play Roblox and Fortnite, and they don't need necessarily Xbox to do so. And they might be willing to give up Game Pass in order to, you know, save some money. At the end of the day, that's what it is. People are in weird situations right now worldwide where like economy is doing really bad, and so people are willing to give up a lot in order to pay what's like necessary to survive right now. And so because of that, I'm thinking the line is thin here about what they can and should do. So Can I actually do this? Wait, I've told them. Okay, I don't have the. Don't have the necessary traits to be able to do it, unfortunately. That would be cool though. But yeah. What was I saying again? Okay, yeah, the execution. The execution here is going to be key on this type of delivery for next gen. And while we all like Xbox to be the most powerful out there and do the most, and I mean maybe they do need. I mean, like we've seen with the ROG Xbox Live, I mean, you do need some overhead because it's, at the end of the day, it's still a PCs, and PCs are maybe not as optimized as consoles. So you do need to deliver a bit more power in order to deliver a somewhat like similar experience. And so that 30-something% difference might be the reason why they're doing it, you know. But unfortunately that could mean also like that once Sony releases a PS6, it could perform somewhat similar to the Xbox if it's that much more optimized. I don't know how bad it could be. I'm guessing it's for a 30% difference. We're probably gonna know this on Xbox anyway, but you never know, you know, with how things are. But so we'll see. But PC games in general, they might require more, so that could be one of the reasons why they're going for such an expensive device. Maybe they just know that to deliver a good experience across both like more like native, I guess, console games as well as more normal PC games, they need to have that extra horsepower. But what we know is Sarah Bond comes from like she comes from the cell phone or like kind of like background. I think she worked for T-Mobile. She worked for another like one of those like big cell phone companies. So maybe she's someone knows on how to deliver on a good price for these type of devices. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen her. I don't even know personally what she's accomplished so far at Xbox, but she's gone up the ranks. I mean, and we know that she did go, I think, make a lot of deals, for example, like in Japan, right, with companies. So she does know her way around for sure, and I'm sure she's highly qualified at what she's doing. But now she's more in charge of Xbox directly and the hardware. So this is gonna be basically her generation to succeed on or fail at. You know, it's like when you look at, for example, like something that's gonna be completely out of the blue here, but it's a James Bond. We have Denis Villeneuve coming in for the next movie. I mean, Denis Villeneuve is a great director, and he knows what he's doing. But Denis Villeneuve, I mean, he's gonna set the pace with this new James Bond movie because it's the first with a new actor, right? So this, in a way, is gonna set the tone for the following movies. And if he fails at that, I mean, he's not gonna hear the end of it, basically. So when we're talking about, let's say Sarah Bond here, well, I mean, let's say, when they released, let's say Xbox 360, Jay Allard and Peter Moore, they set the tone there. And then we all know what happened with Xbox One. So, I'd rather not remember what happened, but yes, it didn't go really well. With Series X, I think they set the tone well initially, but unfortunately they messed up with the releases of the games and stuff, and then they had to pivot to something else. So now this is all in Sarah Bond's hands with their hardware team. So she really needs to deliver on the initial messaging of that console to make sure that people are on board and that they do well. So this generation will be remembered on her master plan, basically, and how she delivers on the delivery of that new Xbox generation and that new Xbox concept, which is the hybrid PC. And hopefully it does really well. I'm really hoping we have a great generation here. I think, like I said, it sounds like, well, like they're now like they've pivoted to multi-platform to bring that 30% target, everything. They're doing good. I'm hoping that them hitting this target is, in a way, it was there a matter of like them being able to still somewhat either subsidize or have a reasonably priced next gen console. And the OEM idea is in order to be able to kind of like mitigate that, so that OEMs are now the ones like stuck producing their hardware. So Microsoft kind of like doesn't have to put in the money for that, right? So that helps them out as well. So that's another thing to consider. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited and kind of like worried about at the same time about what's gonna happen, because what we hear online is one thing, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, you see stuff online, but you know that a lot of the loud people online don't necessarily represent what's gonna happen in the real life and with normal people, you know. So I mean, it could go really bad or it could go really well, because maybe most people, like, I know a lot of people that play games daily and I talk to them on Xbox, nobody cares, nobody even knows, you know. So we're like a special breed of people that are like non-stop on the internet and listening or looking at that's reading about that stuff, you know. But most people don't care, so the delivery is gonna be what matters. And Sony and Nintendo have been really good about delivering on their products and the commercials and all that stuff, and Microsoft hasn't done that well in the past, so that's crazy. But yeah, I'm hoping that they do well this time around, and that Sarabon has the know-how to really like push the brand forward and do good for us Xbox gamers. As Phil Spencer was mentioning, and Famitsu interview this week, which brings to our next point. He was saying that next generation starts when Microsoft releases their first party hardware. So there's another confirmation that we have more hardware on the way from Microsoft. They say to look at the ROG Ally X as an indication of what's coming. So obviously the hybrid PC, I think, is what they're pushing, and they want people to understand that. And I think this is kind of like a way of making people, you know, like transition over, right? So we get people to talk about it, see the device, understand what their next gen strategy is, and by using the Asus to deliver on that with the device that was already working well, you know, that they knew how to do, they were able to pivot and just use that in order to just come out quickly and get their footing, you know, with this, and get working on the software solution and the wild beast, because basically they needed the software solution out so that people would use it, so they could keep developing it. Wait, what's going on there? Oh. And so with Asus, they were able to do that super quickly. Now it's a matter of like improving on that software while people are using it, and at the same time like keep developing their own solution, which I think they are working on as we speak. So yeah, so first thing that they talked about was the first party hardware, and they're pushing hard for Japan, which was the second point I think that makes sense to talk about here about the Phil Spencer interview. So he says like playtime is up, so engagement is up 20% in Japan, which is good for them. I think Series is actually Series S X actually a good generation for them in terms of a user base there, and cloud and PC has been growing a lot for them over there. And I'm guessing maybe Japanese gamers are attached to console space, so maybe having one of the console makers kind of like pushing on PC, maybe it's like a safe space, you know, to use the Xbox application. And knowing cloud gaming is popular there, maybe stuff like Game Pass makes a lot of sense for gamers in Japan, especially with like playing on their cell phones and stuff like that. So that's a good point, and then it's good for them to be able to get those games from Japan on Xbox. We've seen a lot of goodwill from Japanese developers, you know, like listening to Microsoft. I'm guessing all those visits, plus obviously the investment they've made in having people locally over there on Team Xbox work with developers, and get more and more companies on board. And I'm guessing having PC over there, since PC is one of the fastest growing segment in Japan, really helps to bring more games to the platform. And as we transition more and more towards PC, it's going to become easier and easier for developers to bring their games to Xbox, because having to develop on the one version, which is PC, which they already do anyway, because Steam is the platform that gives them all games, and gives more guarantee for those games to come to Xbox as well, which means we get more games, developers spend less time working on those games, so it's like a win-win situation for everyone here. So this bodes really well, and all that work that Phil has been spending there, and Sarah and Japan, I think, is really paying off right now. As well as I'm forgetting the name of the lady here. There's that lady that they hired from, I think it's from PlayStation actually, who's kind of like their eyes and ears in Japan now, the one that's making the deals, and I think she's been doing really good. She was on one of the Xbox podcasts recently, the official Xbox podcast. So really happy that they hired someone, that they realized that they needed someone on the ground over there, and that's really helping them to get us some good games and work on that on those relationships for next generation, right? So talking about that as well, comment from Matt Booty, which got my attention here, is something that a lot of people in the industry have been talking for a while here, and now we even have the Xbox bigwigs talking about it, where they're saying they're not only fighting against like other platforms, but that their main competition is actually stuff like TikTok and movies, because the kids these days, they spend a lot of time on their devices. You know, people scroll those TikTok feeds, Instagram feeds. I guess that generation, the younger people, is mostly TikTok, and they, at the end of the day, even I see it even with my kids, they're on like YouTube and stuff like that, and like they have all the games they could play. They have like Switch 2, they have their PC, they have Xbox Series S, and it seems most of their time is spent on their tablet or on their, you know, looking at feeds and stuff like that. And the reality is like Xbox is in competition with those devices and with these applications for time, because at the end of the day, it's not about games and stuff, it's about like time, right? It's just about entertainment. So you have different forms of entertainment, and people have access to those forms of entertainment. At the end of the day, you have they have to decide where they want to spend their time. So if you wait, I'm kind of like stuck here. I have to cross, but I need to. But yeah, so they need to entice people into their ecosystem, so it's getting harder and harder, which is why the pivot to I guess the third-party situation here and releasing their games everywhere. So this is one way they're doing it. But yeah, they need to bring the games to the gamers in a way that's gonna entice Gen Z and Gen Alpha to move towards Xbox. So it's getting get harder and harder as time goes on. So yeah, it's an interesting comment, and I guess they're aware of what they need to do here. Just this is affecting everyone at the end of the day, including Sony and Nintendo. But it seems like it's affecting Xbox more and more, and I guess not more and more, but it's affecting them first, because they were, I guess, the least popular player of the bunch. So as they started affecting all game companies, Xbox was hurt first, which is why they had to pivot faster than the others. But like, people were worried about like their games coming out elsewhere, and that this comment came from the visit at Halo Studios for the new Halo campaign Evolve that's just been announced today. And people were like, oh well, Halo is coming to Xbox, to PS5. But, well, yeah, we've known this for a while. Other games are going on PS5 anyway, and most likely on Switch too. It's just a matter of Xbox getting their hands on dev kits, which they haven't been able to get their hands on the dev kits really quickly yet. But then we know they have Fallout 4 Anniversary coming to Switch 2, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more games coming out there. Probably Call of Duty, Black Ops as soon as they can as well. And a lot of their stuff like Fallout 76, for example, and Sea of Thieves would work really well on Switch 2. So I'm guessing Microsoft is just like salivating at the idea of like bringing all that stuff over to that user base. But that's just the reality of the gaming landscape right now. Like, more games are coming out in more places, and we've heard that more PlayStation games are coming on Xbox as well, you know, which is also a good point for the next-gen console, because it's a PC, it plays all PlayStation games. So this could be a thing where people are like, well, you know what? Why would I buy a PlayStation if I can play their games on Xbox as well? You know, so, I mean, a lot of things could play in Microsoft's favor if they play their cards well and people are actually interested in that device. So I cannot wait to see what happens. They need to nail the execution. Like, right now, people on the RGLI, for example, are like, oh, well, you know, sometimes the experience is like kind of like broken. You know, it's a bit laggy. You have to go into Windows and stuff a bit sometimes. What they need to get that fixed so that there's as little. I mean, for people like me that grew up with a PC, it's like nothing. You know, I'm like pretty much laughing at this stuff. But for a lot of people, this stuff is kind of complicated. So they need to nail that so that people are, you know, like they don't feel like confused. I mean, to work their way around to get it to get their games to work. That's basically the idea here. It has to just work. Oh, yeah. And to just work, they have to really figure out with the Windows team how to get this stuff to work seamlessly. And it's gonna be hard because Windows is what it is, right? It's a beast. It's a big monster. But I mean, maybe with the help of the Xbox team, they can figure something out together. I don't know, like just join forces and defeat the evils of Windows and just make it work. Like I don't know how Xbox OS works because I know it's pretty much, I think, a streamlined Windows experience with different virtual machines in a way where all the games run in like their own like little environment here. That's how they get the emulation and stuff to work on Xbox. So if they can figure that stuff out and get it to work on Windows, it would be pretty nice, I think. So I'm hoping that both of these teams, like it kind of sucks because Panos Panay has left and that guy was a shit. He should still be there. Maybe he could have not streamlined, but he could have spearheaded the work on that device. But I think we still have like Mr. Romuald here, I think is that name, Jason, over there that still knows what they're doing, and hopefully the leadership's gonna push some good ideas here so that we get the device that we deserve. And yeah, one of the big releases this week, obviously, Outer Worlds 2. I'm playing right now, as you can see. I was a bit scared. Like the first game was alright, a good game. I actually finished it and had an awesome time with it. I think it was pretty funny. It's kind of like, because it's not Fallout, but it has some Fallout vibes to it, right? It's like first person and the vibe, and now it's kind of like not always too serious, you know. I feel like this is like kind of like Obsidian's version of it in a way, and the first game was pretty good and it reviewed well, I think. It just they had a lower budget, I think, and now they can go like all out, you know, since they have Microsoft's money, and it really shows that they have a quality product here. But I feel like I'm one of those people that thinks the Xbox tax is real, unfortunately, and it sucks. I don't think it should be like that, but the websites just don't care, right? And so because of that, I'm always like scared like some games are review like shit, even though they shouldn't. And it seems, while there were like I think 2 reviews that kind of like were meh or average for this game, and it's quite unfortunate, but the rest were all good. And I think maybe things are starting to turn around for the good for Microsoft. I'm hoping. I mean, it was the same with Keeper, and it had good reviews overall. So far, I mean, Ninja Gaiden's like around 80s, the early 80s in the scoring. Same with Keeper. Now we have Outer Worlds 2 doing the mid 80s. So very good scores all around for all of their games. So yeah, overall super happy here with the results. And now we have Black Ops 7 coming out next in the next few weeks, and with the Replacer ads starting to play here. I mean, it bodes well for the game. I think I know Battlefield 6 is now out, and it might be eating a bit of Black Ops 7's lunch. But I'm pretty sure the COD machines, once activated, is gonna steamroll over it, and it's still gonna do well. This it might not be like a outlier year like it was with Black Ops 6, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna do well anyway. I have all the faith in Activision to deliver another great Call of Duty title. They already with Season 1, looking at what they have on Season 1, it's looking pretty good already in terms of content with zombie mode and stuff, and a lot of people are happy with the with the content release for the maps. So I think it was really well for the end of the year for Microsoft with crazy amount of releases, big releases, and we have the what's it called, the Video Game Awards, which are apparently gonna have Microsoft announce some stuff there. I mean, I'm one of those that's like too optimist, and I'm always hoping like that they're gonna have like some next gen reveal or something there, like they did with the Xbox Series. What I doubt is gonna happen this year, unfortunately. Although they could have another device to announce, maybe with an OEM, who knows? But yeah, I'm hoping there's some big announcement coming out at the Video Game Awards, so that we have something to talk about, but something that I'm excited for next year. Next year is also the 25th anniversary of Xbox, so we obviously need something big, and you know, we need to have a good year. I think it's a good time to build up that goodwill with the user base, with the 25th anniversary, with Halo. There's gonna be a new Gears, new Forza with Forza Horizon 6, you know, so yeah, and Fable as well, like the Four Horsemen. So yeah, this needs to come out at a good pace and really deliver, run after the other, like no failures here. And this could be a good way to ramp up towards next generation and start on a good foot. And with that, I think we've covered most of the big things that we had to cover this week. I'm all on my own anyway, and I have someone here harassing me to come to party chat to play with them, so unfortunately that will make me cut the stream a little bit short this week, but hopefully this was enjoyable for you. Still almost an hour of content here, and I could have probably kept on going. I'm like, even on my own, I can actually talk quite a lot, which is a good or a bad thing depending on if you enjoyed this or not. But as usual, thank you for watching me and listening to what I have to say. This is mostly my opinion, obviously, but I'm big into Xbox. All my investments in terms of the gaming is into the Xbox ecosystem. This is where I live, this is what I like, and this is what I like to talk about as well. So if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to give a thumbs up and share it as well with people. Follow me for more content. I deliver news on a daily basis, usually in the evening, once the video is finished and edited, and I can then upload. I have a pretty busy schedule, so I do my best. I do it fast and dirty, but I still do it so that you guys get the content all in one place, super easy to consume. And I'll be back next week with some more of my opinions and more of the great content to deliver to you and talk about. All right, thanks for watching and have a good night. Thanks and take care.